You are inside the Hall of Mirrors. Join me, Greg Sisko, as I share unusual UFO stories which are inspired by Leonard Stringfield. Many of these stories come from Stringfield's extensive diaries, over 12,000 pages, which are available at the Aquarius Library on MUFON.com. Leonard Stringfield was a leading UFO researcher in the 1970s and 80s, and in many cases, his work echoes the claims made by today's whistleblowers. Check it out. Hey everybody, today's Hall of Mirrors episode is going to be pretty interesting. It is about the Majestic 12 and whether that group is mentioned in the Age of Disclosure or not, the blockbuster documentary that came out in November of 2025 on Amazon Prime. So specifically at the 1 hour, 26 minute mark, Lou Elizondo is speaking, and he talks about the fact that he was sitting on the porch with his wife and he gets a phone call from someone who he recognizes on the line, and it happened to be one of the staffers on the Hill. This person that Lou was talking to was very shooken up and said he had a very interesting meeting on the Hill. Essentially, an extremely senior person in the U.S. government, in the intelligence community, told Congress, for the record, that there was a committee of 27 individuals, and Lou says he's not going to go into names here, and that is because if it is the Majestic 12, that would just throw the whole thing off right there in the movie, and people would start commenting about that and arguing about it, and he just didn't mention what the name of the committee was. I happen to believe that those 27 individuals are the Majestic 12, and I will explain why at the end of this video, at the later part of this video. So basically, Lou says that they were mulling over the idea of using extreme measures to silence David and myself. That would be David Grush, and myself would be Lou Elizondo. You know, basically do away with them. And a lot of people are going to say, come on, that's a conspiracy theory. But Lou says, no, it is not. And he says that apparently the U.S. government has done it before. And he says that under certain circumstances, people have been done away with without due process. If there are clear and present danger to national security, they can do it. It's not done very often, but they can without a fair trial. They just disappear. No, this video is not about General Neil McCaslin, but something to think about, isn't it? Probably do another video on that in the near future. Lou goes on, he says, so here I am. If I wind up in a month from now floating in a Potomac somewhere, you know what happened. That's the truth. And then he leans forward and says, what else do you want to know? So, how do I know? First off, there's a couple things there. First off, how do I know that it is the Majestic 12? I have a good suspicion it is because I saw Lou Elizondo personally at the City Winery in Chicago in February of 2025. I actually met Lou Elizondo, but during his presentation, he gave a very nice presentation about the UFO phenomenon. The way he gave the presentation, it was in a way that the average person would get something out of the presentation. It wasn't only for UFO gearheads and believers, if you will. It was a very accessible presentation to everybody. After about 40 minutes or so, Lou took questions and answers. And one of the first questions he got, kind of obviously is the Majestic 12 for real? After some hemming and hawing for a bit, he said yes, but the number is closer to 27, not 12. So then in Age of Disclosure, he mentions that this committee of 27 got together and decided to eliminate David and himself. So that is my connection to the Majestic 12. So after the questions and answers were over with, I actually got up and asked Lou a couple questions. First question was if he knew the namesake of the Collins Elite, which Lou mentioned the Collins elite in his book, Eminent, which was released in August of 2024. The Collins elite is a cabal in the Pentagon that believes that the whole phenomenon is angels and demons, and they don't want the topic and phenomenon research for that very reason, because it's inviting evil. So Lou basically blew me off when I asked that question. The reason why I wanted to know is because I had been reading Leonard Stringfield's personal diaries, and I wanted to see if this person, someone associated with that cabal, had contacted Leonard Stringfield and wrote him a letter. So Lou basically blew me off like he didn't really know what I was talking about, but it was clearly in his book. I even went so far as to ask, how can a presence like that be at the Pentagon for many years when there's a high turnover rate in the Pentagon where generals and officers regularly turn over? And he didn't have a very good answer for that at all. So my second question was probably even worse. It was asking him if he had run into any indication of the Grudge Special Report 13, which is a highly controversial report that is said to not exist, but there was some evidence in Stringfield's diaries that maybe there was something to it, and maybe there'll be another video about that too. I don't know. But in any event, Lou blew that question off almost quicker than he blew off my question about the Collins elite, after which it was time to get your books autographed. So at the presentation at the City Winery in Chicago, Lou gave his presentation, took questions and answers, and he autographed everybody's books. So I am waiting in line with everybody else, and I'm checking out the people in front of me, and they're just walking up, giving their cell phone to Lou's assistant. Lou signs the book, gives them shakes their hand, and they're off. There's no discussion or anything really. So this goes on for probably a half a dozen people, and then it's my turn. I go up and same thing, give my phone to Lou's assistant. Lou signs my book, and then instead of shaking my hand, he grabs my elbow and does the Bill Clinton double clutch and looks me straight in the eyeballs and says, "Now you have a safe ride home, okay?" And I'm like, holy cow. I guess I must have asked a whopper of a question. So that was why I was very surprised that in early April of 2026, Lou starts posting in YouTube that he had a motorcycle accident and he was in a hospital for a week. He's got a severe brain trauma injury along with a lot of other injuries. I'll leave some links to those videos down in the details of this video down below. But
about a week ago, I was involved in a motorcycle accident. I was driving home from my business at night, and about a mile from my home, a deer and her baby were in the middle of the road. And I had a choice, make a split-second decision. Do I plow into the deer and kill it, or do I try to avoid it and hopefully not hurt myself in the process? So needless to say, I chose the latter. Unfortunately,
okay, so
I was not able to.
It wasn't a setup, I guess. But Lou said, last thing he said here is, what else do you want to know in Age of Disclosure, after he's done talking about what I believe is the Majestic 12 and how they do away with people. He's like, what else do you want to know? What I want to know is, what is that deer doing in the trailer for Steven Spielberg's new movie, Disclosure Day, set to be released in June of 2026.
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today.
And I'll leave you guys with that. You can leave some comments on the whole deal down below, and I will see you on the next video.
This thing on. Hey folks, Lou Elizondo here. Day 3 maybe of being back home and recovering from